Hi and good morning. It is morning here. In this episode of The Plants, we are finding the Brugmansia, angel's trumpet. Today I'm standing in front of two of my Brugmansia, Charles Grimaldi. Charles Grimaldi is considered the most fragrant of the Brugmansia. And in the mornings and in the evenings, this is the place to be. Now during the day when the sun is out and it's in the midst of the day, not a lot of scent. You really got to get up there to give it a sniff. Oh my gosh, that floral fragrance is just unbelievable. So Brugmansia, I'm not sure if you can see in the video, but I've got mine grown in pots. Over the years, I've done a lot of research, a lot of internet searching, talking with people in the area. So again, I live in the Pacific Northwest, just south of the Puget Sound. And I've seen information, I've received anecdotal stories where Brugmansia can be cold hardy down to about zone 8. And I have tried a couple years, a couple different methods throughout. I have a collection of 6 different varieties. And I've tried to overwinter these in the ground. And I've been successful. I've successfully mulched, cared for, and had them return the following spring and grow throughout the summer. The problem is, in our climate, our growing season isn't long enough for them to get huge, gorgeous, and bloom, in my experience. So I'm going to stick with, they are cold hardy down to about zone 9. So if you're in zone 9 or better, you'll probably have a good chance of being able to plant them in the ground and have them come back year after year, bloom, and put off these gorgeous blossoms. They come in a variety of colors. And again, back to my editing skills, here's a couple colors. I had to go back through some of my camera roll to find pictures that I've taken over the summer of a few of mine, because currently here I'm middle of September-ish. My yellow is currently, my Charles Grimaldi is blooming, and I have one of my pink colored ones blooming, but the other ones aren't currently in blossom because, well, we're getting to that point in the season. We got a couple buds, I'll see a couple more. Anyhow, let's move on with our day. So, in the mornings, in the evenings, this is when the Brugmansia really put off their scent. It's an amazing time to be out in your garden during those times to be able to enjoy their scent. Brugmansia is toxic. You do not want to cuddle this plant. I wouldn't add it to your salad. There's anecdotal stories about huffing. Huffing the blossoms will give you, what is it? It will give you violent hallucinations. I don't know why I had a hard time thinking that. I've not experienced it. Who knows? I do get a little, befuddled when I'm on the patio sometimes during the summer. I like to think it's just because I'm passionate about plants, but who knows? Maybe huffing all of these is adding to that. Regardless, growing and caring for Brugmansia. Brugmansia is super easy to overwinter. Couple things to note, and these guys are going on 4 years old. They're huge, absolutely huge. But every year I cut them down so that they can fit through my greenhouse door, or so I can fit them into the garage. Couple different ways to overwinter. You can put them in a greenhouse, keep them in there, but be warned, they will continue to try to blossom and grow and bloom, and that can be a little overwhelming when you walk into a closed greenhouse in January that has Brugmansia blossoms blooming. You can also put them into a shed or a garage, let them go dormant. Don't let them get too awfully dry, but you also don't want to keep them damp, because they will, they'll rot, because they're not growing. So you just want to keep them from getting super dry. And then in the spring, move them out, and they'll come right back to life for you. Brugmansia are heavy feeders, thirsty. They're very thirsty. My fertilized water process throughout the year to get them to look amazing, until about early July, I am fertilizing them once a week. I use Alaska fish fertilizer, something that's higher in nitrogen, or I will use an all-purpose fertilizer. I'm a Miracle Grow user, so if that's an issue, move on. But something similar to that, a nice, well-balanced fertilizer, and then you'll get the nice foliage. You'll get the nice foliage, big leaves, and then early July, that's when I switch. I will switch and alternate between a tomato fertilizer and a bloom focused fertilizer. I'm not sure why I'm missing that word there, but and then I'll start seeing these big blossoms as the evenings start getting cooler, still with some warmer days but shorter days. That's when they're really going to start putting off those bursts of flowers and blossoms. Go ahead and deadhead them just to keep them looking good. Watering, they're going to need during the summer, even here in the Pacific Northwest, I need to water them daily. Otherwise, they're going to get all sorts of wilty on you. And then keep an eye on them. They will get, they are susceptible to aphids and spider mites. I find that when I am going around watering, I just hose off the leaves a lot. And that's about the best way that I have found to treat for spider mites. Removing any yellowing leaves, things of that nature. So, Brugmansia. Propagating, super easy. These guys are super easy. You just need to take a cutting, stick it in soil, keep it damp, give it a little light, and boom, bada bing, you got a new plant. Super easy. And when you buy them in the spring, if you're out at the nursery and you just got buying a little guy, tell you what, that's gonna grow. You give it proper water, proper fertilizer, you will have blossoms that first year. Now, if you've just taken a cutting in the spring and you're growing that out, it's about a 50-50 chance, again, depending on your growing conditions, whether you'll get it to bloom that first year. Now, one cool thing to note when it comes to Brugmansia, when you're starting out, if you've propagated or you've bought a new plant, they are not going to bloom until they Y. So, not sure if you can see this. I will, in editing, I'll take a look and see how well my pointing. I may insert a video here. Who knows? You know me when it comes to editing. But you'll get a stalk that'll grow up, and then at one point it will Y. It will Y. You'll get a couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 branches that come off. It's after that Y when they'll bloom. They won't bloom before the Y. They gotta Y out. Why? I don't know. That's just the way they are. So, if you are at the neighbor's house, down at the nursery, prop lifting, you're gonna wanna get a cutting from above the Y in the spring if you want a good chance of it to bloom that year, because it's got the guts inside there to be able to blossom. Otherwise, you're waiting for it to get to the point where it wise out. Bigger the pot, bigger the plant. Small pot, a lot more watering, much smaller plant. I have these in 2 foot wide pots. They're about 2 foot wide by about that tall, and these are horribly root bound. I've not done this yet, but I have seen others when they grow them, they will set them in a bin so that, or a little tub, so they can keep a little water in that tub. I'm telling you, they're thirsty, super thirsty. I like to say you want to plan to water them daily and twice on days that end in Y, because the leaves will get all wilty, the stalks will bend. Keep them watered. All right, well, this is Brugmansia. So they grow wonderfully in tropical areas. You'll see them growing wild out in Hawaii, places of that nature. I did not actually look up to see where they're from. Sorry about that, but you know, that's a quick little Google search. Propagating, just take cuttings. You can grow them from seed. I've not been able to collect seed, and it is just so easy just to take from cuttings. They are toxic, so don't eat them in your salads. Don't cuddle with them. Other than that, Brugmansia, angel's trumpet, an amazing addition to a tropical yard or any patio. Be cautious growing them in the house though. When those start blooming, who knows what's going on. All right, thanks for watching.